Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my rant on Scary Movie 3 from 2003. Specifically, the exclusive unrated version, which is known as Scary Movie 3.5, which is rather fitting because I laughed exactly 3.5 times while watching this piece of shit. I do not understand why this franchise took such a massive dive in quality. The first film was serviceable, watchable, had some laughs. The second movie was actually pretty consistently hilarious throughout, at least for me personally. Had a really great cast, and it seemed like the franchise was on the right trajectory. Scary Movie 3 comes along, the Wayans Brothers are excised or exiled from the franchise for some fucking reason, and the Zucker brothers, well, it's just actually just David Zucker. David Zucker is brought on board to direct and replace Keenan Ivory Wayans, and a whole new batch of screenwriters. Buddy Johnson. Well, actually, no, it's Craig Mason and Pat Proft, who worked with Zucker Abrams and Zucker on a lot of other films. They worked as producers on Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2. Uh, Pat Proft also directed Wrongfully Accused, which starred Leslie Nielsen, who has a cameo role in this film. And you could tell that without the Wayans brothers' involvement, this franchise just didn't have the same vibe. It didn't have the same feel. It honestly felt more like a epic movie or date movie or disaster movie. And that's not a good thing because those films are abysmal. So this feeling more like something like that really sucked. And I don't know why the Wayans brothers were forced out. I don't know why Keenan Ivory Wayans wasn't asked back to direct Scary Movie 3. Because the second film was a hit. So I don't understand the logic. No, most of the time they try to bring back people who were responsible for the success when it comes to this kind of franchise. That would be like if you had Hot Shots Part 2 and then you wouldn't even bring back the original cast and the original guys who were responsible for why the first film was a hit. You'd be like, what is this? And then it sucked, and then you're like, well, you just fucking killed the franchise. Good. Nice job. But for some reason, this still made a shit ton of money. In fact, it made $200 million. It made $220 million worldwide. This piece of shit. And they made it PG-13, which also affects the kind of humor they can get away with and makes this come across rather tame in terms of the lines that they are able to cross. And from a directing standpoint, Zucker's direction is a step down from Keenan Ivory Wayans from Part 2 because here everything's just so lifeless. It comes across as like a TV movie in terms of the level of directing. It plays out like a sketch or a series of sketches on Mad TV. And by Mad TV, I mean the twilight years of Mad TV. That's also the best way to describe Scary Movie 3, 4, and 5 is that they are a bunch of shitty, lame Mad TV sketches from the tail end of the run of that show strung together. And it wasn't funny during the twilight years of Mad TV, and it's not funny here. I understand humor is subjective, but this is my opinion, and to me personally, Scary Movie 3, for the most part, is not fucking funny. The screenwriters make the mistake by not focusing on the horror genre as a whole for their horror parody. I don't understand why they chose to take a different route, considering it's called Scary Movie 3. It's not called Movie 3 or The Movies 3. It's called Scary Movie 3. So why the fuck is there an 8 Mile parody here? It has no connection to anything, no connection to the horror subplot, no connection to the horror genre. It's not scary, so why the fuck is it here? Um, there's multiple references to the Matrix sequels. Why the fuck are they there? At least in the first two films, you would have references to the Matrix or Charlie's Angels, but you wouldn't actually have them as a main part of the plot like what you have here. They would just be gags. Here, no. For some reason, you have an 8 Mile sequence, which is just thrown in there, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, and it doesn't fucking work, and it isn't funny because of the fact that it's PG-13, so you have a rap battle that's sanitized, and when people get bodied, it's lame as hell, and the joke is that, oh, he sucks at rapping, and he owns himself, so that's what makes it funny, and that's why he wins the rap battle. And then the whole thing with him putting the hood up and he looks like a KKK member, which I saw coming from multiple miles away, knowing how lazy and uninspired and predictable most of the jokes are here. I mean, speaking of laziness, there's numerous scenes where this kid just keeps getting hit or smacked in the face or kicked or hit by a car, and it's like, why? What am I supposed to laugh at? Just how random it is? Oh, that kid, look at the kid, he got fucking decked. Ha ha. That's not funny to me. Especially when there's really no punchline. The punchline is child abuse. Wow, that's fucking hilarious. Child abuse is funny. What? I don't I don't understand. And I don't really like the plot. I hate the plot. I like the plot in Scary Movie 2 where they team up, the teens from the high school go to a haunted house and spend the night. I like that. I even like the plot in the first movie more. This is just a blended mix of shitty parodies that are shoved down your throat. So you have a shitty parody of Signs and with Charlie Sheen and this fucking annoying asshole character George. Simon Rex is a poor man's Andy Samberg. And I there's a reason why he hasn't done a lot outside of this franchise, because he's putrid. He's a terrible comedic actor. He has no presence. He has no charisma. He has no real personality. Uh, he's just a fucking joke. And Charlie Sheen, I love him in the Hot Shots films. Here he's wasted. Completely wasted. And Anna Faris comes back as Cindy, and there's this whole subplot with her within a parody of like The Ring. And Brenda also comes back for a little bit. And you know what? The scenes with Regina Hall and Anna Faris were some of the only moments in this movie that were legitimately watchable for me, because they still had the same chemistry that they had in the first two films. Why did the film not focus more on those two? Why was it focusing on Charlie Sheen and Simon Rex? Why were we focusing on them so much? Why did we have the stupid rap battle shit with Kevin Hart and Anthony Anderson? And also, why are we doing a Signs parody, a Ring parody, and a Saw parody? Because, well, actually, no, the Saw parody happens later. Sorry, I got confused with the other scary. Because they run fucking together. All these movies run together. So why are we doing Signs and The Ring and Matrix? Because there's a whole way that they try to tie the Matrix into things with the architect and with Queen Latifah's character, and it's just like, what the fuck does this have to do with any? Why are you're trying to connect The Ring with the Matrix? It's like the screenwriters saw an obstacle, which is a square peg that they're trying to shove into a round hole, and they shoved it so many times into that round hole that it finally broke, and then it fit, and then they tried to make the argument that, oh, it fits now because we shoved the square peg into the round hole so many times that we forced it to fit and just made it wide enough so we could stick it in there. That's not actually making things fit. You're just forcing it in there. And there's other lazy stuff with the jokes. Like there's a Michael Jackson thing, which is I think a parody of The Others, and it's lame because it's the same bullshit where, oh, he's a child abuser and he been. There's zero evidence that suggests that he actually ever did abuse anyone. Leaving Neverland is not fucking evidence. There's so many holes in that documentary. Uh, you might as well call it a piece of Swiss cheese. But I don't even want to get on that because I'll be here forever. But anyway, yeah, you have lazy bullshit like this stupid shit about Michael Jackson wanting to have sex with kids, and then the whole shit with the aliens and their dumb way of interacting with people where goodbye is kicking somebody in the nuts and then they pee out of their fingers. Just random nonsense. An opening sequence with Jenny McCarthy and Pamela Anderson, and they watch the cursed tape and then die. And of course, there's a lot of gags about their breasts and all this other shit. And the two are hot, but it's PG-13, so it's not like you're actually going to see any actual tits or ass. And then Leslie Nielsen has a part as the president, and Leslie tries to carry this desiccated corpse of comedy to any kind of finish line, but stumbles too before he even is able to cross the finish line because there's only so much he can do here, and the president character is just some oblivious guy, which is very similar to other characters that Leslie Nielsen has played in other movies. And there's this whole thing about we got to stop the evil tape. We got to stop the girl who's coming out of the screen and killing people. We have 7 days, so we have to figure it out. And then there's a connection with the fucking aliens for some reason, and the architect and the lighthouse, and they find a way to stop the ring girl, and everyone lives happily ever after. Oh wait, no, they reuse the same gag where Anna Faris's character gets hit by a fucking well, actually, she doesn't get hit by a car. Cody gets hit by a car. Because that's the running gag here, is that Cody keeps getting hit by things. Just like the really tired gag when Charlie Sheen's character wakes up and goes through the cornfield and gets hit by corn stalks in the face and then in the balls. God, this movie sucks. And Brenda, she's barely in it. She dies. I know people say the scene with her corpse at the funeral was hilarious. I thought it was stupid and just dumb. You have this Cody Kid who's an asshole, who's psychic, and he's a buzzkill and gives away shit to everybody. And there was a scene when he first got hit by a car that I actually laughed at because it was surprising. But then they overdo that gag to the point where it's a fucking dead horse. And honestly, I wish the kid just fucking got knocked the fuck out of the movie at that point. Because he was annoying. So it's just... And the film makes a reference to Pooty Tang because it ties into the whole evil. Because there was this guy who the architect, played by George Carlin of all people, in one of his last roles before he died, explains to Tabitha, the girl from the tape, she was an adopted daughter. She was evil. She got drowned in the well, but then she imprinted her evil onto the tape. But he fucked up and returned that tape to the local Blockbuster because he thought it was Pooty Tang. And they make a reference like, oh, Pooty Tang is this evil, but Pooty Tang is funnier than this movie. I'd rather watch Pooty Tang. And Pooty Tang sucks too. But at least Pooty Tang, it's not a parody. It's not a lame, lazy parody of a ton of different movies just shoved together with the thinnest of threads. And the cast, I mean, like I said, Anna Faris, once again, endearing as always with her performance as Cindy Campbell, this oblivious, dumb, lovable girl who always gets caught in these crazy scenarios. I did have fun with Regina Hall the little bit that she was in. Charlie Sheen, lame, completely waste his talents and his deadpan and his abilities here. I've already ranted on Simon Rex. It makes me want to retch. Leslie Nielsen, trying his best, doing his deadpan, playing things straight, and he's responsible for one of the 3 laughs that I had while I was watching the movie. Kevin Hart was an annoying runt. Anthony Anderson just completely wasted as some lame hype man for George, played by Simon Rex. Eddie Griffin is in this as Orpheus, which is a parody of Morpheus, and he's in it for like one scene. George Carlin as the architect. I mean, you got fucking George Carlin and Leslie Nielsen in one movie. They don't share a scene together. Would have been nice to see those two share a scene together, those two legends. But nope, we don't get that. They just get fucking wasted as well. Flushed right down the fucking shitter along with everybody else. Denise Richards is there as Charlie Sheen's wife. Jeremy Piven plays Ross Giggins, this guy who's like, he was a news broadcaster. And he's another reason why I laughed once, because of how well he was able to deliver this bunch of random nonsense that's being typed up on the teleprompter. Gotta give Jeremy Piven a lot of credit for really selling that. Apparently Tom Kenny, he voices the aliens in this. And then you have a bunch of cameos by a bunch of rappers, because they show up in some of them show up in the rap battle scene, and then they show up near the end where they're supposed to help George fight the aliens, and then they shoot themselves because they start to have beef with one another and then pull out their guns, which was fucking predictable as fuck. As soon as they showed up, I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? They're gonna have some kind of fight, and then they're going to kill each other. Oh, yeah, wow, that's exactly what happened, of course, because this movie is so fucking predictable. And the unrated version adds nothing to the movie. It doesn't make anything better. If anything, it might make it worse, because now it's longer, and there's more jokes, and there's more opportunities for them to fuck things up. The music by James Venable, I don't even remember a single note. Mark Irwin, who did the cinematography. I mean, Mark Irwin is a legendary cinematographer. Like, this is the guy who did the cinematography for fucking Videodrome, and The Dead Zone, and the Blob remake, and RoboCop 2, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And he's stuck doing cinematography for Scary Movie 3. What a fucking sad state of affairs. What a fall from grace. Edited by John Pohl. If I were to make a poll, I would probably vote that his editing sucked. So, this is just one of those movies that I did not care for. Really, honestly, at all. Waste of potential in terms of it's another scary movie, it's another horror movie parody. Why couldn't they have just made it a parody of The Ring and other Japanese horror films? Or if they wanted to do science fiction, just do a parody of sci-fi horror. Why the fuck did it have to be all these random popular movies crammed into one? I don't understand that thought process. I honestly feel it was a mistake. And in a lot of ways it sold the franchise's soul, because now it's just like any other parody movie, where before the Scary Movie films, they had an identity. They were horror parodies. Scary Movie 3, it's not really strictly a horror parody, because it's also a science fiction parody, and it's also a parody of 8 Mile. So, yeah, I really don't know what else to say about Scary Movie 3. The fact that the lighting is getting darker fits, because it definitely fits my mood that I have to talk about Scary Movie 3, and then because of the fact that I have now talked about this movie, I know that I'm going to have to talk about Scary Movie 4 and 5, which are somehow even fucking worse. So anyway, thank you for watching my rant on Scary Movie 3, and as always, I'll see you later. See ya. Holy shit!